All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this talk on Enterprise Kotlin. So what I'm going to do today is go through, okay, how can we combine Jakarta EE and Kotlin? And that's the goal of this talk, to actually show you that, well, it's certainly possible. Not really that hard, but it should be certainly possible. So I can hardly see any of you, so like I won't do any show of hands or something, but feel free to use Slido for questions. Hopefully we'll have some time for that towards the end. But if you remember one thing, just one thing from this talk, is that you can combine Jakarta EE and Kotlin. Works perfectly fine. And you can take my word for it, but I can show you as well. So here, let me switch to presentation mode. You see my demo project. You can see that I have some Kotlin code. Just a simple hello application. Oh, and if we can see my terminal as well. Here we are. Okay, I've cheated a bit, but let's stop everything. Let's clear my terminal. And let me start this Kotlin application. And you can see here, installed features, it says microprofile and Jakarta EE. So now it's starting up, and you can see that, well, everything is started. Good. That means let's go back and see the application. So if you head to localhost 9080, you can see welcome to Open Liberty. And I'm going to talk a bit more about this in a moment, but for now, just want to show you that, well, it's a compatible implementation of Jakarta EE as well as microprofile. And you can see that the server started. It's running now. So if I head over to /OpenAPI /UI, you can see the endpoints that I made available in my Kotlin code running on Jakarta on Open Liberty. So I can try invoking the simple hello, which just invoke this, and it returns back hello from Kotlin running Jakarta EE. So that's the talk. Thank you. Now, but like just to show you that this actually works, and you can see. Yeah, let's head back to the moment. So let's go back to the slides, because I guess some of you know Jakarta EE already. I hope most of you know the concepts of Kotlin. But what? Jakarta EE? So what is Jakarta EE? Well, summarized, you can say that it's this. It's a full feature platform, provides the core technologies you typically need for most applications. Blah, blah, right? But it makes sense. So this is what it actually is. The sum of all of these ones are Jakarta EE. That's a lot of specifications, which are you typically need, or might need, or many people need in enterprise applications. And that's things like dependency injection. You have the REST endpoints that we just saw in the code as well and used a little bit. You have JSON support. You have support for transactions, things like mail. If you need to send email from a system, you can do that in a standardized way. You have batch for batch jobs, and lots of these technologies together, they form Jakarta EE. And these are specification. That means that there can be different implementations of every specification or the set of specifications. So yeah, we'll head back to that in a moment, just to show you that it's a big community. It's supported by lots of organizations. There are lots of developers developing Jakarta EE. Lots of projects. It's a big thing. And there are many implementations. And that's one of the core benefits of Jakarta EE, is that if you go with one implementation, you for some reason ain't happy with that one, you can switch to another implementation of it. And on this slide, you see all the compatible implementations. And you can see Open Liberty, that's the UFO on the top, which I've already shown you. But you also have things like Glassfish from Eclipse. You have Wildfly from Red Hat. And you have lots of other implementations as well. So it's totally vendor neutral. So, but that's Jakarta EE, right? We're going to talk about Kotlin today. So that was a lot of runtimes that I showed you on the previous slide. But okay, lots of runtimes doing Jakarta EE and Java, fine, whatever, but do they support Kotlin? Well, there are two answers to that. The first answer is if you head to Payara Payara webpage, you search for Kotlin, Sorry, nothing found. So no, it doesn't support Kotlin. But from the official Kotlin webpage, you can see that Kotlin is fully compatible with Java, which means that everything that runs Java should also be able to run Kotlin, right? And that's what we just did was exactly that, running Jakarta EE on a runtime in Kotlin. But it's possible, okay, since it's JVM, so it's certainly possible. But is it feasible? Should you do it? Or to put it in another way, what would be the problems if you were trying to do it? What would stop you from doing it? Like, it should be straightforward, right? Since it's JVM. And yes, it is, but no, it isn't at the same time. And why do I say that? I say that because Kotlin loves final. By default, everything, every class, every method, everything is final in Kotlin. That means that if you can't inherit from it. But Jakarta EE, on the other hand, doesn't really not love final, because both dependency injection and other parts of Jakarta EE are based on proxy, make a lot of use of proxies. And proxying typically means extending your classes in many senses. And then you can't have final. So that's a clash, right? You need to do something here to fix this. That's the first pitfall I'm going to help you through. There are two ways of solving this problem. The first one is to say, you can, on every class in Kotlin, say, make this class open for extension. You could do that for functions as well. So like, yes, you can extend this class, you can extend this function by using the keyword open, which works in most cases, but on the one hand, it makes, you can't really have open all the way around your code base. It's disturbing and noise. And the other thing is that the Kotlin compiler does a lot of things under the hood. So if you do have a field in a Kotlin class, well, Kotlin makes a getter for that one. And you need to make that getter open as well, which can be hard. So luckily there is a better solution, which is the all open compiler plugin. This is from the official Kotlin webpage, by the way. So you can say that every class that is annotated with some specific annotation will be open for extension. That means that you can make every bean, every stateless bean, an annotation scope, request scope, whatever. You can make them available for extension, and also for your entities for JPA. Okay, so and we'll come back to code on this part towards the end of the talk as well. Okay, pitfall number 2. CDI, that's dependency injection, and JPA for persistence, needs no arg constructors. So you need to be able to instantiate the class without providing constructor parameters. Same solution here in many senses, the no arg compiler plugin from the same Kotlin webpage. Use these plugins, they help you a lot. Okay, and the third pitfall, documentation. So I already showed you the webpage from Pajaro, right? Saying that, okay, sorry, we found nothing when searching for Kotlin. And not a bad word about Pajaro. Like, this is a general problem with all the runtimes, that they support Kotlin much better than they say that they do. So let's look at openliberty.io on the top here. So like, okay, we got 4 matches for Kotlin, of which none were applicable. Like, none of them told you could do that, or you should do that, or this is how we do it. And it's even more clear on the Wildfly webpage. So as we saw in the beginning, Wildfly is Jakarta EE compatible, but if you search for Kotlin, it gives you 0 answers on the webpage, which is a pity. And there are some app servers runtimes that are explicitly supporting Kotlin. Those are listed on the Kotlin webpage, but there are app servers like Micronaut, Spring, Cater, Quarkus, and a couple of other ones. But none of the Jakarta EE compatible ones are listed there at the moment. We'll come back to that in a moment as well. So you need to do some things yourself. And speaking of documentation, maybe some of you know this, that already that if you are using JPA, you need a persistence XML file to tell the runtime like how persistence should be done, like how do we connect to the database and all these things. You specify this in a file called persistence XML, which you put into your resources folder, right? But if you put it into your resources folder, the application starts up, you get no errors, except for the fact that it doesn't get read, so it's not used. You need to put it inside the meta.inf folder. It's not like you're getting an exception or anything telling you that you should look there. No. So it's obvious if you know it. If you don't know it, well, sorry, you shouldn't have known. So that's those kind of documentation issues that like you spend so many hours figuring out these stupid mistakes, which are obvious if you know it. So the documentation, that part, could be improved. Okay, so that was some talk, some introduction. So what I want to do now is to show you like, what did I do to get from nothing into the code we saw running in the beginning here. So we're going to head over to GitHub, because I've cheated a little bit, and I made a pull request, which is like the differences. Okay, this may be a bit small, maybe dark as well, but like we can handle that. So I downloaded the OpenLiberty starter, because if you want to make an OpenLiberty application, that's typically the thing you do. You head over to the official web page, you find the starter, you download it, and that gets you started with OpenLiberty. But that gets you started with OpenLiberty running Java, and we want Kotlin, right? So I want to show you exactly what I've done in order to make OpenLiberty run Kotlin properly. Git ignore, okay, not that interesting, but like added the. Can you see this, by the way? Is it readable? Okay, good. Okay, so I added a Kotlin version. I added the dependency on the Kotlin standard library. The Darby, that's an in-memory database thing. So the same with this thing. It's like don't really care about this one, but here we have the plugin. It's called Kotlin Maven plugin. We can look at this one in IntelliJ, because this one is an important piece of this puzzle. So you can see that. Okay, if we minimize this one, and we find the OpenLiberty. Not OpenLiberty, we find the JetBrains Kotlin Maven plugin. There are similar things for Gradle if you prefer to use that one. But you can see that, well, we have this plugin from JetBrains that make Kotlin, which process sources. So everything inside this folder. There's a test compile thing as well. And we can see that here we have the no arg that I just talked about, as well as the all open thing, all open dependency. And whenever we compile our Kotlin code, we use these ones for the compiler plugin. And we say that everything that is annotated with Jakarta path or application scope or entity will be made open for extension. And we say that everything annotated with path or application scoped will have an OArg constructor as well. And you might say, why is not entity listed as a JPA like no arg constructor thing? Because I already said that you need to do that, because that's done automatically for you if you use the JPA plugin here. So that was the POM file. What more did I do? I deleted the REST application.java. I created a similar thing in Kotlin, just an application path thing, extending application. That's what OpenLiberty needs to start to be able to start up. I made my entity with a data class, annotated it, and also I made, well, this paths. That's a controller with a path, application scope one. I injected a repository using CDI, and I made a transactional endpoint, because why not transactional, right? And I do persist an instance of the hello dummy object, which you then get back the ID from. just to show that this is how you do JPA combined with dependency injection in Kotlin. What more did I do? I did create a repository with a persistent context. That's JPA thing, using Entity Manager, which is like, yeah, just doing persistent find and all these basic things. Here's the OpenLiberty config for the in-memory database. Just that's an implementation detail. Here's the famous persistence XML file, which I copied from the OpenLiberty guide. So I use the guides whenever they're useful. And that's it. That's like all the changes I've done to the code I got from the starter, in order to get this, well, application running, providing things like dependency injection, REST endpoints, JSON support, all these things. So that's a short look at the code we can have. But let's go fast through it step by step, which is partly what I've done. OpenLiberty starter. You have similar things for Quarkus. You have similar starters for Helidon, for lots of the other runtimes, if you are interested in that. Add the Kotlin dependencies in the POM file. Add the all open thing. This is what we just went through. And once you've done that, you can use REST. You can use bean validation, so that if you have an int parameter, for instance, you can say that that has to be positive. Once you've done that, you can add the JPA plugin, allowing you to do persistence things, and happy coding. So some of you might say, wait a minute, you said Quarkus, okay? And we've spoken a lot about Quarkus today through several different talks. And Quarkus has first-class citizen support for Kotlin. But at the moment, Quarkus does not support Jakarta EE. Luckily, it will do pretty soon. In the next Quarkus major release, 3.0, which will be released sometime soon, it will support the newest version of Jakarta EE. So then you can use Quarkus as well. That's going to be great. Okay, so as time is wrapping up soon, the summary of this talk is that, can you combine Jakarta EE and Kotlin? Yes, you can. The trick of it is like, use the Kotlin build plugins, the all open and the JPA compiler plugins. Documentation generally missing, or like at best it's thin. And yeah, all of my code is on that link. I'll share science afterwards as well. Don't worry. And that's it. So thank you. And I think we have, thank you to my fan club. We have some minutes for questions. I can see that we have no questions. Okay, so if anyone, by the way, wants stickers for Jakarta EE, for Kotlin, for OpenLiberty, whatever, see Rustam and Alina down here and get them after the talk. So don't think I'll have so much more code to show you. Then that's part of the good thing, right? It's like, it's not that much code, which is pretty cool. But that's one nice thing with Kotlin as well. But like, idiomatic Kotlin, I think. And it works real fine with Jakarta. And that was the message of my talk. So thank you, everyone.